Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum students. I'm your instructor Adil Raza. Welcome to our class. Today we have to learn an SLO from grade 6 unit 7 and it's our SLO about reading and critical thinking. So let's find out what today's video is about. So reading and critical thinking is the competency for this SLO and it's the lecture 4C, and our topic for today is to identify problem solution. So identify the problem solution not in general manner but from the non-fiction text. We have two categories of text, one is fiction and one is non-fiction, and we have to read both type of text in our course or in our book. So this chapter, bribery, a social evil, is about is our text from the non-fiction category, and throughout the read and while reading the non-fiction text we have to identify the problem or the main theme which is presented in the text, and then we have to find the solution. So we have to identify the problem and the solution, but not in this world or in the general aspects of life. We have to identify the problem and we have to identify the solution from a non-fiction piece of writing. So let's find out what our SLO is. So our SLO for today's lecture is to identify problem solution in a text. So I have mentioned that we have to identify the problem and its solution in a text, not in the world or not the general halves of the world. So and how can we do that? There is an extension of the SLO by linking an issue to its problem source. So let's find out how we achieve this SLO with the help of the text of this lesson. So here is the vertical linkage. You guys go through it and let's do a brainstorming activity. So what is the brainstorming prompt? Let's see. Think about a time when you solve a problem from a text. What steps did you take to identify the cause of the problem and find a solution? So students, let's think about, have you ever find some problem in a text? Have you ever find an issue in a text and then you will find what the problem is about and what has to be the solution of the problem? Like you have read some text about the climate change, you have read some text about the flood. So when you read a text about something, then you will definitely identify there is a problem which is presented in a non-fiction text, and then how you guys will get to know what the solution of the problem is, how to prevent our country from the flood or flooding, and how to prevent our country from the corruption, or how to prevent our country from any type of problem which is presented in the text. So have you ever do such type of activity? And if you guys have done such type of activity, then what are the steps which you guys follow to identifying the solution of the problem in a text? If you guys don't remember what the steps you have follow, or you cannot name that steps, so let's find out. You will definitely know in this lecture. So firstly, we have to identify what is a problem, what is a problem solution structure in a text. So firstly, understand it. A problem solution structure in a text presents a problem and follows it with a solution. So most of the time in the non-fiction exploratory text, what the writer do? The writer presents a problem, like he presents a problem flood, and then after the problem he will give some suggestions, or he will definitely give some solutions. So the problem solution structure is very common in the text, and by understanding this structure we can read the text in a more appropriate way, we can understand the text in a more compact way. So understanding this help us to comprehend the text in a better way. So you students, you have to make a mind that in a non-fiction text, firstly the writer presents a problem. That problem might be flood, that problem might be climate change, global warming, or something else, and then the writer definitely will present some solution for that problem, some suggestions to prevent the problem, and such type of things which the writer will do, and they are considered as problem solution structure, which is most of the time used in our text. So let's go further. What is next? There we have to know how to identify a problem in a text. So you guys are reading non-fiction text and you have to identify what the problem is. Look for the clues. So firstly you have to look for the clues in the text that describe an issue. So firstly you have to know about the text is describing what issue, which is the issue which is addressed in a text. So most of the time the issue which is described in a text, like the starting line of the text is corruption is a evil and blah blah blah, so so we can know that by this clue the text is going to about the problem of the corruption. So we can easily get to know that through identifying the clue, through looking for the clues about the problem, about what is described in a text, to get to know about what is the problem of the text. So in the text the describe an issue, challenge or difficulty faced by characters or described in a narrative. So through identifying what is described in a text or what is presented in a text is we can know what the problem is, because most of the time the problem of the text is exactly the same which is described at the start of the text. So let's go further. What is next? Now we have to look the problem and to its source, because we have to, our SLO is about to learn the problem solution structure and how to find the solution of the problem with the help of its source. Most of the time the problems are arrive with a particular context or a particular source. So through the for the sake of attempting to solve the problem, we have to identify the source of the problem. So let's find out what is written in this slide. To solve a problem, we must identify its root cause, because there is a problem like flood. So we have to find out what are the root, or what is the root of this problem. And if there is a problem like corruption, so firstly for the sake of solving this problem, firstly we have to identify the root causes. What are the key reasons because of them the problem is going to happen in a society. So look for connections in the text that explain why the problem occurred. Most of the time writers have mentioned why the flood is coming, or why the global warming is happening, or why the corruption is happening. So most of the time writer by himself mentioned in the text what are the causes of a problem. And if you don't find such type of causes in the text, you can ask from your teacher, or you can Google that problem to find out what are the root causes of that problem, because identification of a source or the roots of a problem are very important in terms of identifying or proposing the solution of that problem. So let's go further. Here we have to learn how to identify the solution. So we have identified the problem, we have to identify the source of the problem, and now through the using of our background knowledge, we have to identify the solution of a problem. After identifying the problem, find how it resolved in the text. So firstly you have to go through the text, and through the text you will definitely got the solution of the problem. So you have to look in the text for the solution of a problem, because the problem is presented in that text and the writer will definitely give something or some description or some suggestion to solve that problem. The solution might be presented as action taken or changes made. So like we can say that if there is a problem presented in a text like global warming or flooding, so the writer will definitely propose some we can say that some suggestions or some solutions for to prevent that problem. So most of the time the text carries the solution of a problem. So let's find out what is next. So we have to apply our SLO. We have learned how the problem is found. So our chapter was about bribery, about corruption. A form of corruption is bribery, and there, if you see the passage 5th of the lesson, you will definitely find the writer by himself propose a solution. And what is the starting words? One important way to prevent bribery is to give employees better salaries. So here he gave a solution, and what is that solution? A possible solution is that to prevent bribery, what you have to do, you have to increase salaries, you have to give better salaries. If the employees get better salaries, they wouldn't receive anything illegally. So such type of problems are so in this way the solutions are presented in the text. So you can read this text, you can read the passage and the next passage, and through reading these passages, the problem of bribery which is addressed priorly in the text, you will definitely find the solution of the problem in this slide. So let's go further. What we have next? We have a classroom activity through on the base. These are the questions which are based on your understanding of the problem and solution. So here we are. Firstly, the question is about why is the suggestion for high salaries given in the text to prevent bribery. So there is the question about a solution, a proposed solution in the text, and the sixth question of the activity is also indicating, is also checking your understanding of the solution, on what grounds you have understand the solution. So let's go further. There is the simulation. Through this simulation you can definitely get to know about the problem solution structure of the text, and you will enlarge your understanding of how to identify a problem and its solution in a non-fiction text or in a fiction text. So let's find out what is next. Pause the video. Here is the worksheet, and attempt this worksheet on the base of your prior knowledge which you have learned in this video. So let's go further. Here is a homework, and the homework is also based on the SLO according to the knowledge, according to the things which you have learned in this video. Attempt this homework as well. Let's go further. Here we have a resource pack which will help you to achieve the SLO in a more compact way. So I hope you guys understand how to identify the problem solution structure in a text, and what is a problem solution structure in a text, and how we get to know or identify the solution of the problem within the text. If you find any issue, any doubt, any question, you can ask in the comment section, and you can ask from your teacher as well. Thank you very much. Allah Hafiz.